Hi, all. This is Indiana, Chair of the Housing and Human Services Committee. We're just going to give folks a little bit of time to stream in, but thank you for joining us.
Hi, Diana. Linda. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, thanks for joining us.
No, thank you for having me. My name is Robin Cruz.
Thank you, Robin. Are you a member of the community?
Yes,
Great, we're happy to have you.
thank you.
Linda, you as well? Are you in the Washington Heights Inwood area?
Inwood?
No, actually, I was invited by I think Miss Diaz.
We are in
Okay, great.
Washington Heights, Inwood.
Yes, yes, great. Thank you. Well, we'll get started in just a second. Thank you.
Mhm.
loyal, fiercely loving woman.
All right, just a couple more minutes, but we need one more person for quorum. So I'm going to give it maybe 2, 3 more minutes. And then if not, we can get started and we'll have quorum whenever we've got quorum. Thank you. All right, folks. I think if Jay has no objection or any others have no objection, maybe we can get started. I'm going to put our agenda on the screen. Mm. Hello? Can you guys see that? No, right?
No,
All right, okay. Try that one more time.
now, perfect.
And you can see it? Okay, great. All right. Okay. Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate your patience with me. I am terrible at the screen sharing, and so please bear with me. But our agenda tonight is pretty straightforward. I apologize, I've not been feeling well. I'm finally like getting back to feeling and sounding a little bit more like myself. But we have almost quorum, but I think we should get started and do a round of introductions, especially because we've got some new members on the committee. And so let me turn my camera on. Thanks again for joining us. My name is Indiana Porta, and I am chair of the Community Board 12 Housing and Human Services Committee. I'm really excited to be here, even though we're remote. And I also attend the Land Use Committee. And before, I used to be part of Public Safety as well. And I'll just leave it at that and welcome Jay to introduce himself.
Hey folks, Jay Bias. This is my second term on board, and currently traveling down to New York City. So sorry, I'm not on camera. Welcome to the new members. I'm also part of the Youth and Education Committee this year, and I'll pass it on to Marshall.
Can you hear me,
We
guys?
can hear you now, yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Marshall?
Yeah, I'm trying to boot up my camera. Marshall Vanderpool. Uh, I'm the public member of the Housing and Human Services Committee. I am formerly the first vice president of Dyckman Resident Association, Dyckman Houses, representing the tenants. And I've been around for a little while, and I'll land my plane here. Thank you.
Thanks, Marshall. I'm going to pick your brain a little bit during this meeting, just to give you the heads up. Lisette, you want to go next?
Hi, all. My name is Lisette Severus. I'm so happy to be here, and I hope you're all doing well and staying warm. We've been through quite a bit these past few weeks. I was just appointed last year, and I've been on the Housing Committee. I was on the Cannabis Task Force, which has been combined with licensing, and I'm on licensing now. And also, there's an outreach, I guess, task force. I don't know if it's a committee. I think it's a committee. And I am also on that as of now, February. So I'm excited for it all. And I hope to be of help to the community.
Wonderful.
And I guess I'll land my plane here. I'll get that. I got that from Marshall. I love it, by the way, Marshall.
I do too, yeah. Thank you, Lisette. Stephen, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, folks. Stefan De Jesus. I'm a Washington Heights resident. Have been a member of this committee over the past year. Excited to be here. I'm also a member of the Youth and Education Committee, and I see that Tanisha's joined us. So shout out to Tanisha, our Youth and Education Committee chair. But yeah, excited to be here and to really advance all of the housing needs that we have in our community.
Great, thank you. I'm going to let Tanisha introduce herself, and then we will go to Robin.
Hey, everyone.
Hi.
Thank you, Chair. I am Tanisha Grant. I am the second vice chair of our wonderful community board here in Manhattan, Community Board District 12. And I am also, as my people have said, I am the chair of Youth and Education. And I used to sit on housing and human services, and try to come and support my chair, Indiana, who I insisted be the chair, in any and every way I can, and to, see what's going on. We have a lot of things going on right now. It's very, very cold, and we want to know how we can keep our people warm. So I want to really support housing and housing and human service committee in that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Robin? Robin, would you like to introduce yourself? All right, maybe we'll circle back. Let's see, I see some movement here. Maybe we may have lost some folks. So maybe since you don't have a big, here's Linda, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hello?
Oh, sorry,
I'd
no,
love
sorry, Linda, sorry. I'm gonna pause you. for a
Hi.
second, Linda, before we go on back.
Hi, my name is Robin Cruz, and I'm a part of the community for maybe 10 years. I'm also part of the licensing, and I was a part of the traffic interpretations, and now today is my new from our first days to
Okay. We may have lost you there at the end.
maybe something's going on with the internet, with the connection. So what I'm saying is, this is my first day in housing committee. So thank you for having me in here, and I'm here to help.
You're muted, Indiana, by the way.
Thank you. All right. So folks, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to let Linda introduce our return visitor. Go ahead, Linda.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Great. Hi. My name is Linda Page, and I am a safety net activist. And I came to your housing committee meeting last month and gave you all an invitation to join the safety net activists and a coalition of people in creating an action that we wanted to do called No More Crumbs. And the purpose of the action is to rally our people together in light of the federal cuts that have gone on that are affecting all of our communities, affecting us health-wise, affecting us housing-wise, affecting us with our food safety and food quality and food adequacy, also our children education-wise, also with child care. It is a bevy of cuts that affects us drastically. And we are inviting you all, that we gave you an invitation last time and gave you the documents related to it, inviting you all to help us to create a rally that lets our elected officials know that we are not going to take these cuts lightly, and that we need funding in order to be sustained with a livable quality of life, and that we are no longer accepting any crumbs. So we invited you to come with us. We are a group of activists that are made up of people that have lived on the safety net benefits at one time or another. And we know how substantial and important it is to have these benefits continue in our communities. So we want to establish a massive rally going from different areas that are being affected, different boroughs, and we are letting them know that we're not taking any more crumbs. There are ways for you to fund and maintain the safety net programs and benefits that are so needed in our community. So we extended the invitation to you all to please come and to be with us as we put this together. One of your people who just spoke, Vice Chair Tanisha, has actually come to our planning meetings, and we're hoping that you will participate with us also.
Thank you very much. And I have your flyer here, but for some reason, because it's not a PDF, it's not letting me share with everybody. But let me just make sure that we've got the details correct. So it's going to be on February 28th, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and it says Central Harlem. Do we have an exact address yet or a meeting place?
It's actually going to be at Harlem Hospital. That is we're still in the planning stages.
Okay.
Tentatively, we are saying it will start at Harlem Hospital unless we have any changes to that. And that's the starting point. And it will end at the State Office Building, which is at Clayton Powell Boulevard and 125th Street. So Harlem Hospital is located at 135th and Lenox Avenue, and the route will be taking us down. We're not sure of the route yet. We're thinking it'll go straight down Lenox and then make a right at 125th down to the State Office Building. But we do know that our final destination will be the State Office Building.
Wonderful, thank you. And is the planning group still meeting on Mondays via Zoom?
Yes, we're still in the process of planning it, and we're hoping that you'll come and be with us as we are planning it. We are doing that every Monday at 5 p.m. And I did give you that information before and gave you contact information if you had any questions. And I was hoping to hear from you to get a yay or a nay, and I thank you for inviting me back.
Yes, thank you. So we're still getting internal updates on whether we can officially co-host, but we did share the information at our January general board meeting where all of the members attend. And so I put it on their radars, and I also told them that the Urban Justice Center safety net activists are organizing, and so pointed them towards the website. And then I actually just printed the flyer, so I'm going to go and grab it so that I can at least put it on the screen for folks to see it. It will just take me like a couple of seconds, but one question that I had is, can you tell us a little bit about the Safety Net Activist Program, just more broadly, what that is?
Sure. The Safety Net Activist Program is a program that is made up of people with lived experiences, people that have either been on benefits such as public assistance benefits, for housing, for food, for medical programs, which are all of the safety net programs that are involved with the federal cut. So that would be food, which would be SNAP, shelter, which would be housing vouchers and steps, and also the medical benefits, the affordable care, Medicaid. And that is, the program is made up of members, as I said, that have either been on it or are presently on it. And basically what we try to do is to, we galvanize together and we try to protect these benefits, and we try to make improvements to them also. So we basically go out and we do demonstrations, we do try to get legislative changes made, and we are activists working in that area. And we are also activists in trying to let people know their rights and getting these benefits and maintaining them, and also being treated in a respectful and dignified way. We do go into these agencies to ask for benefits. And
Okay, sorry. Thank you so much. That was a great overview. Really appreciate it. Like I mentioned, I went ahead and printed the flyer. I know it's not great. Sorry. Um, but I will try and circulate it. It will not let me post it on the screen because it's a JPEG format and not PDF. And I'm not gonna try and do that on camera right now for folks because I won't be able to figure it out. But I did just want to put that just there. It's where are they joining us online or can see on YouTube. And I will try and circulate the file, right? And if you guys have it in a PDF, that maybe you guys can send our way, that would be much appreciated. And then I'm just going to put also the other flyer that you shared with us last time, in case you guys see it, but it outlines some of the priorities, which include healthcare for you. Thank you very much. The final thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read the contact email address for the event. So folks can reach out if they have questions. And then Linda, if you wanted to share yours, you're welcome to, but you don't have to. I'm just going to read the one that's here at the bottom. So just going to put it up close so I hope it's visible. And
That would be the one.
that's the one. Okay, great. So the email address is Y like yellow, Z like zebra, D like dog, A like apple, N like Nancy, O like octopus, W like whale, I like Indian, C like cat, and Z like zebra at urbanjustice.org. I'm just going to put like one more time up here. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to share the board. Also, like I mentioned, the Urban Justice Center has a page for the Safety Net Active work, and there's contact information there as well in case you have any more questions. So thank you so much, Linda, for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. I don't know if Denisha wants to add anything because she has a 2-hour planning.
Sorry, we're not
meetings.
catching, it's kind of
Okay.
breaking up, so I'm not sure. Want to type it into the chat maybe, and then I'll make sure that I read it out loud. Thank you very much. I'm going to put it on mute, Linda, but I'll keep an eye out for your note in the chat to read out loud. Okay? Thank you.
You're muted again, Indy. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Oh my God, how many years has it been? So I just wanted to introduce, or actually let somebody introduce themselves that's joining us here. Staffer from the New York State Assembly, from Assemblymember Manny De Los Santos' office. Let me unmute you, and if you can please introduce yourself.
Hi, y'all. Good evening. You're gonna hear some background noise because this is homework time for me and my daughter, so I apologize. But I will say human services is extremely dear to our hearts since it's most certainly the bread and butter that we provide in our office. In the last year, we saw 8,000 cases and closed out all of the cases, and counting, right? Because this year we're encountering new experiences and new situations. We're seeing that there's a higher rise in eviction notices, quite by design, right? So we have to make sure to support and look for programs that support these initiatives because we can't do it alone. And that's perfect segue to explain what's happening right now. The Assembly is currently going through negotiations with budget line item allocations. And so we're most certainly supporting or elevating requests as per nonprofits that are asking for state budget line items. Um, and unfortunately, again, by design, some organizations know when exactly to because they have lobbyists, right? They have the privilege to be supported by these institutions to carry and support these letters. But of course, we understand that that's not all of us. And the nonprofits that support our district, that are also the backbone of the community, should know. And so we tried our best to let folks know or inform them that the budget letters were due. They are due, and nonprofits are right now circulating their budget request. Most certainly could have any conversation about what that looks like, or if we want to prepare for next year for anyone that needs that support. And that is for budget line item FY 26 to 27 budget. That's all I have as of right now. When it comes to legislation has probably and is a token item right now, depending on what is being asked for in the budget. So all these things are in current negotiation.
Thank you so much for that overview. If you've got a couple of extra minutes, I would love to just clarify a couple of questions. For the budget, so you're saying that the window for local organizations to apply for funding, that is already closed.
No, not necessarily. So what I'm saying is that every assembly member, as per district, right now has the opportunity to champion a sponsorship request. But some of these lobbyists already know that, so they would inform the organizations that's usually their clientele and inform them how to prepare for these or for this funding or sponsorship request. And we most certainly understand that, right? That not all of us have the privilege to have this support. And so we have been informing organizations that have been asking us for support. And we have notified them, hey, there is this way that you can self-incentivize, which is by requesting, if you are in the 72nd district, we can support by carrying your letter. But it's a dual process, which is you, the organization, will be requesting and doing your own lobbying, while we, on our end, through the assembly, elevate the request through emails and submitting it on a portal. That is unfortunately taking off. And if you submit a budget request to any assembly member, they would probably deny it because it's late in the game. And organizations have been and organizations are already have already worked that budget request. So it's sort of like if you're advocating for a piece of legislation, right? You are asking for an assembly member to carry your piece of legislation. If you are an author or if you are interested in supporting in that manner. And then the assembly member would essentially internally submit it on a portal. And then the other assembly members would see it, and they would essentially vote on it and say, okay, this organization is indeed something that we should support in the budget. But it is essentially, I'm not saying that we wouldn't do it. It's just late, and other assembly members wouldn't necessarily sign on to it because they would say it would also be late.
Gotcha. And so for us thinking ahead, like this year, this is my first year chairing the Housing and Human Services Committee. I'm sorry, guys. It's my first year chairing this committee. And also like some of us are newer to the committee. And so really, I feel like this has been kind of a planning and a growing year.
Yeah, and this is my second budget too, so we could walk through this together.
Amazing. I love it. So like thinking ahead then for the next budget cycle, since it may be a little bit too late for this, like when would you recommend that community groups, either reach out to your office, or are there trainings? Like what
So
would be
this,
an ideal timeline for somebody who's never done it before, who doesn't
right.
have consultants, who doesn't have lobbyists? Like, how early should they start to look at things? What do you recommend, like in terms of timing, and then reaching out to your office? How do they engage
So I
you?
think I should explain the different forms of funding first. So this is a state budget line item that is negotiated as if it was a bill, right? And there's also policy issues that are attached to most of these budget requests. But there's also discretionary funding and there's capital funding for purposes of building repairs, um, any other capital improvement projects. But for right now, this form, the budget line item, it would be you would start requesting the assembly member of your choice to carry your letter depending on the issue. I would say what was 2 months ago?
Ah,
I'm blanking out right now. 2 months ago, folks were already emailing and asking
okay,
assembly members.
so starting in the fall then.
Starting in the fall, you should reach out to the assembly member saying, hey, um, we want to schedule a meeting. You want to see first the assembly members' recommendations and suggestions because you want time to secure the best sponsor for your request. It doesn't have to necessarily be the legislator in your district. If it's something for education, you can most certainly reach out to the chair of education in that manner of the committee, but it most certainly also does not have to be. It's up to your discretion and what you believe the assembly member has been good in championing.
Okay, great. And do you have a sense of can you share what he's championing right now for this budget cycle?
Right now we have 9 letters because we turn no one away.
Oh.
Right? So
We're gonna keep that in mind for next time.
yeah, so we turn no one away. We have 9 letters. There's 9 different nonprofits in the district that have reached out 2 months ago and were already
Great.
asking for support. And usually I would say like a month before folks start asking us, hey, can you champion the letter? And then we sit down with the legislative committees and see if that makes sense. But we didn't turn anyone away. But we definitely supported those that reached out and asked about it. And so I think that this committee should definitely support in those endeavors is definitely supporting our nonprofits that need um that don't have the privilege, right? Like let's acknowledge it. We don't have the privilege. Not all of us have the privilege to have a lobbyist on our side that will walk us through this. We could do it ourselves, and that's what we're all here for, right? And so that's that. And then there's discretionary. Discretionary portals open up when the budget is submitted on the assembly side. And this is all about the assembly side. This is nothing from the Senate. That unfortunately you would have to contact a Senate office for and ask them for these kind of arrangements. But discretionary funding is separate, and you can most certainly send that whenever you're ready to send it. But that portal doesn't open up until the end of the budget when it's submitted.
Okay, is that when it's submitted, is that like after the deal has been closed with the governor, like once it's finalized?
Correct. And this year was late, so it was submitted in June. So it could be early this year, it could be May. I don't know. We don't know yet, but last year it happened in June.
Yes. Okay. That's
And it's a very a short amount of time that we have to submit these requests. It's sort of like, all right, guys, you have until either a day or two. So
Oh.
reach out to everyone
Oh my
or
God.
just circulate whatever you already know rather than, that's how it works, unfortunately.
Well, listen, this has been super, super informative. I really appreciate you joining us so much. We would love to have you, or if you're not available and somebody else from your office wants to come in, somebody
Yes.
join us at
We're actually gonna have a discretionary funding training because there's eligibility, there's pros and cons, there's things that we need to prepare our organizations for before they apply because it's that type of funding where it's reimbursable funding, and it's also funding that has requirements. You have to have certain documentations and have and be a nonprofit for sure.
Okay. And do you have those training dates? all
No,
set?
we're working on that now.
Okay,
So I'll be in touch.
thank you so much. And then if I could just ask you one other thing, we in our last meeting talked a lot about food assistance for families in our community. And, you know, we understand that there's going to be changes to like the SNAP formula. And so the state may need to put in more funding. If you can please keep us updated on, you know, ways that we can engage and help advocate for funding for our district, we would really appreciate it.
Yeah, I think that we should.
But I think, sorry, just one last, like, we, you know, certainly, you know, we can do a resolution, but like, if there's maybe like an advocacy piece that we can help, and if you recommend, you know, if it
Yeah.
would be to invite other elected officials to come and talk to us, or, you know, like any ideas that you have, that's certainly something that we really want to, you know, advocate for and really come down hard, because we know that there's so many families that already don't qualify for assistance. And then with, you know, all the changes in funding and then the threats of just people feeling scared to go and, you know, get help or get food and assistance, we want to see how we can be more proactive.
Right. And when the the food snap scare, where we thought that it was completely going to be eliminated, at that time from the federal cuts, and they were going to hit deep, and the governor didn't have a plan yet. We were definitely planning ahead. So we joined coalitions that support and provide services. We joined their emergency calls. We were there, but I think we need to support our nonprofits in becoming more aggressive in sharing and showing numbers of there being areas that are still food deserts, areas that are not that don't have any food banks, any food pantries. I think this is a problem, but I think we need to do this in coalition, and we need to elevate this. I I mean, I know there's someone here who's been an amazing partner in this, and we have been reaching out to one in particular, and we haven't been getting a response. So I think that it's time that we design a coalition just for that, with areas, the needs, and nonprofits involved.
That's amazing. I mean, I think you've been in touch with Lisette, like she and others are part of our like an outreach subcommittee for the community board. And that's one of the things, right, that really, you know, we've talked in this committee and as the full community board, but really like engaging more on the ground with folks. I feel like, you know, we can also, through our different contacts as members, connect with a lot of the community based organizations and the nonprofits, but also like if there's anything that you can recommend for us like on the ground, if there's an organization that maybe has good like a one pager or pamphlets, or you know, some way to get like information for people who are seeking services or assistance. And then also on the advocacy side, like whichever, we'll take both, you know, resources. We'll see how we can collaborate to
Yeah.
both, but we are so eager. I think this committee, I hope I'm still speaking for everyone and that they're okay with that, but like, I think we're really eager for like, kind of like hands-on ways to get involved. So
Right.
please send it our way.
I do want to share that I'm super excited about these protests that are going to be launching and taking place. I think we need more of that energy, collectiveness. I think we need more signing onto letters collectively, not just assembly members on letters. I think we need coalition building purposes and assistance. I think that, and I know because it is Black History Month, right, that we learned from those amazing leaders that in order for us to get what we need, because it's not what we want, what we need to build coalition around it and stand up and fight together.
Amazing. Thank you so much. If you don't mind, I'm just going to open it up to any other board members in case there are any other questions. Okay. I don't see any hands. I'm going to give it just 30 more seconds. The other
Yeah,
thing, oh yeah,
may I?
perfect. Go ahead, Robin.
I'm 100% with you in what you're saying. We need to have more pantry for people that they suffer hungry.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, and they're on the street and they don't have nothing to eat. So we need to help a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Not even in Washington Heights, but whatever we can.
Robin,
My
that
apologies.
wouldn't necessarily be a food pantry, just because if we are serving the unhoused community, we want to provide food that they could store and eat right away if necessary. Just because those for food pantry, it's like canned food and food that has to be prepared. So I think what works in that capacity, and this is the perfect committee to talk about it, is something called the Midnight Run, which is you during the day have a committee that makes sandwiches. As simply as that, you make sandwiches with that committee. Then you have the Midnight Run committee. So the Midnight Run committee goes around the community and gives the prepared food to the folks that are unhoused in the community. This was something that was done traditionally in Cabrini. Mother Cabrini used to do it all the time when they had the high school. But since the high school has been closed, we have not seen a midnight run.
Okay. Yes, please. That sounds great. I would love to get a little bit more information of like how to connect with that group. And Sonia, I see you. Sorry. Yeah, I would love to get more information. Who could we contact?
The Girl Scouts were attempting to recreate it because I believe one of the Girl Scouts organizers was a Cabrini student back in the day. So I can connect you to that person that's trying to start it from scratch.
That would be great. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's something that if there's enough interest, we could even do it like on a community board meeting day, right? Like have folks come a little bit early and
Yeah, like a day of action for sure.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. We also, I won't keep you any longer for tonight, but we are also housing. And so if there are kind of like along the same lines with SNAP and food assistance, like if there are advocacy pieces on the housing, I know that the governor put out her proposed executive budget and there were some housing pieces there. So we would love to have you, if you guys have time even next month, right, to come and share with us, like, what does the assembly member support? Like, what would he like our support on? What can we get behind on housing issues as well?
We have to make sure the vouchers are available. Most certainly. And so the assembly member that's carrying that budget and policy request is the assembly member Rosenthal. She's the chair of the housing committee. So I think that maybe inviting somebody
Okay.
from her team now to find out how we could support or that bill and that budget request would be great.
Okay, yes, thank you so much. Please keep us in the loop. And we, again, really, really appreciate your time and all this information. Thank you. And then I see from Linda. Linda says, she's asking if Tanisha has anything Tanisha, is there anything that you want to add about the rally since you've been participating in the planning efforts so far? And then Linda also notes that Coalition for the Homeless has a mobile food kitchen that also gives prepared food every day. So thank you, Linda. I will add that to the minutes as well. Tanisha, was there anything that you wanted?
No, I think she covered it.
Great. Tanisha, since we've got you here, I saw that you shared information about like some parent organizations and events happening, right? Is the BLM event, I think, coming up? Since we've got you here, you're on mute, but since we've got you here, do you want to drop a quick
Yes,
note?
we're having an event on the 21st for Black History Month, because you know that's a day. Black history is American history. Don't let them fool you.
Mhm.
So we're having an event on the 21st. Don't get me to lying where it is. I'll make sure that I send y'all the details,
I
but
can look,
let
yeah.
me, yeah, let
And
me
who's
look
organizing that?
yes, it should be, but we'll definitely send a flyer. And it definitely will be in the newsletter. But basically, we're co-sponsoring with a whole bunch of other organizations, just like a Black history event. We will have barbers there. We'll have free clothes. We got a lot of vintage, like really cute clothes to give out. We'll have free cooked food. It's just will be there'll be a presentation. I think about Malcolm X, because he was killed um in our community on the 21st of February or the 22nd, one of those days. And so it will just be event that is uplifting Black history, Black people, while doing what Black people have always done. Given to the community. So it's gonna be a whole bunch of things there, and I'm gonna find a flyer, and then I'll come back off of mute and put a little bit more what's gonna be there on the record. Thank you, India.
That'd be great. Yes. And I really have been thinking a lot about what you've mentioned in past meetings about how we need to make sure that we're reaching different groups in our community. And so I feel like, you know, we should have, of course, all been doing this, right? But like, what a better time to do it right now when there's going to be so much activity around Black History Month, right? And celebrating. So I feel like it's a good time to make connections very organically, right? There's going to be a lot of events. And so I think I'll just say to all of those who are here on the call, right? Like, please make sure that when you're out in the community and you're meeting folks or you're going to events, like drop a line about, our meetings always like invite folks, we always make the time. And then I would love, maybe Tanisha, like we can
Right.
have you
Yeah.
back and do like a little bit more like concrete, right? So for example, this idea of coalition building around the cuts to SNAP funding and then the need for other kind of food resources. Like I would love to like get a diverse group of folks here from different organizations in our community to really build like a more concrete coalition.
Yes, because like Deanna was saying, like there are so many pockets in our community where there is no food service. And then by the time our community members travel to the locations where there is food service, it's like gone. All right. And we have to understand that we have a whole bunch of pockets in our community. So if you have a food pantry on say Broadway and 155th or Broadway and 157th, that is not going to reach, say, uh Amsterdam, between Amsterdam and Saint Nick. Like those are two whole different worlds, right? So we have to be very intentional that we're serving our whole community and that we're advocating for our whole community and that we're not catering to one population more than another, that all of our communities, I mean all of the diverse people in our communities feel supported, because what happens is people check out and the trust is gone. And then you have little community-based organizations building up that trust, but they don't have the resources, and they're working, for free. So that is very important that we are making, especially with everything that is happening, like, and we need community support and we need for our members to support community support for the community more than ever, because those people, those big mamas in the kitchen, myself, we're the ones who get the calls at 11 o'clock. The normal nonprofit closes their doors at 5 o'clock. There's no services afterwards, and we really have to support the people who are out here doing things just because it's their community. I think they're the ones who's be supported first, but that's just my opinion, Chair. But I have the flyer up, so it's a Celebrate Black History Family event. It is on Saturday, February 21st, 2026. It is from 1 to 4 p.m. It will be at 1833 Lexington Avenue. That is the Ethel Battle Villas Community Center, formerly Johnson. Ethel was an amazing NYCHA housing advocate, and she recently passed. So we'll learn about beautiful history with cool literacy and art activities. Echo.
History
Sorry, one sec. Let me.
Linda, thank you. So we'll learn about beautiful history with cool literacy and art program activities. We got hot food, haircuts, hair braiding, resources and services. We will have so much fun. Come celebrate Black Pride, resilience, history, and love. This is a free event. We will also this is led by Read It and Leave It. We know how important reading and stuff is to our community. So we'll have a lot of resources for the community to come out and enjoy. And we're working on something here in Washington Heights as well.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Let us know. I'll put this in the minutes, this event, and if you find the other one with Washington Heights, send that my way, and I'll make sure to circulate it. And then also, not to put you on the spot, right? Just something to think about is what organizations you think would be good for us to connect with about the food needs, and like an organization that we may not, have built connections with. And again, not to put you on the spot, just like give it a little bit of thought of who might be a good.
I think the closest one that I'm sure that we've talked about is this new the Washington Heights. What's their name? They used to be on 86th Street. Now they up here on 181st. Deanna, help me out. What's their name? This food pantry that just got a big space in Washington Heights.
West Side Campaign Against Hunger?
Yes, them. I
Okay.
think that they could do a better job of working with community members, especially since they're the main one in our community. In my private position, we went to them 2 years ago. Because I live in one of these pockets, one of these food deserts. I think that's also something, Indiana, I wanted to bring to light here is that my daughter went to the store, and we do the work that we do because of our personal experiences, right? Living in this community. That's why, we chose to be on the community board, to not only speak for ourselves, but our community members, because we are, the people that are going through this. Food deserts. When we talk about food deserts, we got to talk about the supermarkets too, Indiana. I sent my daughter to the supermarket the other day for some peppers, and they were rotten. And this is from the new supermarket on 162nd. So how can maybe, since this is health and human services, how can we hold them accountable? Maybe invite all of the supermarkets in our community to the floor and ask them, how do they source their food? Where do their food come from before it gets into our supermarkets? Because even when we have supermarkets, our communities are still called food deserts because of the quality of food that we are getting in our supermarkets are, for lack of better words, trash. And I went to buy a bag of rice the other day, Indiana. It was $12. So they are charging exorbitant prices for food that we shouldn't be feeding to anyone, let alone our elderly, ourselves, or our children. And to get food, we actually have to go out of our community, and that is not sustainable to a lot of people for a lot of reasons. So I don't know. We'll talk about it at our executive meeting, but I really did want to put it on the record here that the way they are treating us and taking our money at these at most of these supermarkets in our community is absolutely out of control, and we need to hold them to task.
Yeah,
I'm sure you've had your own experience. I'm sure everyone on this call can talk about a time they have went to the supermarket and got something that was expired or something, especially when we talk about our fruits and vegetables, right? And not everybody can go up to the farmer's market. We should simply have good food, high quality food in our supermarkets, and the prices shouldn't be so high. All of this cost that's put on the consumer, the poor people that don't got no money in the first place, is ridiculous. And everybody can't go to Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
Because we don't got one up here.
I hear you. Just yesterday,
Indiana.
I try and find some more information, and I hear my name, so I'm going to stop. Just to say one
Sorry,
thing.
Robin.
Oh, Robin, yes. I'm just going to finish one quick note, and then I will pass it to you. Just yesterday on the news, I saw that there's a state elected who has a bill that is pushing to have the big grocery store chains paid the same price as the smaller grocers on the, I guess, like, I'm not a business person, but on like their at cost, like totals of what they're buying, so that, you know, like a company who produces products for these vendors doesn't charge big companies less than they would some of the smaller grocers, especially because in communities of color, you tend to have more small groceries and bodegas than some of the factories. So I will also look for the bill number. And I want to say it was Michael Lasher, but I'm not sure. So I'll confirm and I can circulate that information as well. All right, Robin, go ahead. And then I think also somebody else had raised
Just
their
an
hand.
idea, Indiana, is, I don't know if it works, but can we reach out to colleges, like say the Yeshiva College, City College, whatchamacall, Presbyterian, I mean, what is it called? We can reach out to the hospital also to see if it can help us to get some, because I know a lot of colleges, they have food pantry and they buy food through Amazon.
So they get
So
like
I don't know
better.
if it's a good idea. We can reach out and see what's going on.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I have no objection to that. We can certainly try, and maybe you and I can chat, and whoever else is interested in try and find some contact information. Thank you.
Okay,
Anyone
no
else?
problem.
So I actually have I would like to propose something. So in Albany, there's this coalition with all of the food pantries, like West Side Campaign Against Hunger is there in the coalition. New York Common Pantry, Food Bank, they're all part of this coalition. It's called the Alliance for Hunger Free New York. I think y'all should send out a letter from the community board. And you should probably even circulate it within you should send it to us as well, the electeds. And so that we could talk about meeting the needs in these pockets. I
Yeah.
most certainly, I just saw that I pulled up an email. I have the email of the organizer for the coalition for the alliance. So
Yes.
we can work on that offline. We could work on the language. But
Yep. That'd be great.
like Tanisha said, we were working with this one food pantry because they're mobile, and we did even request a meeting and we never got an answer. So I think that what we need to do now is reach out to the entire coalition to see who's going to provide that answer and that solution.
Great. Oh, this is wonderful. Thank you so much.
It's me again, Indiana. It's me, Robin. I'm going to try tomorrow to speak with one of the representatives for City College to see if they can, give it guidance to see how we can, get some ideas or some food, whatever. But I'll be in contact with you.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to add you to like our email thread so that, that way everybody gets all the emails at the same time. And we can kind of brainstorm that way. So thank you so much.
Not a problem.
I see Sonia. I'm going to take a quick break just to ask Sonia to quickly introduce herself and say hi. Thank you. Glad to see you. And then I feel like I've talked nonstop. So please, if there's any other questions, ideas, or anything, if you just want to unmute yourself to tell me to mute myself, please go ahead. But Sonia, go ahead. All right, maybe whenever. We'll catch you in a second. All right. So I only had a couple of other things on my agenda. And one of them is that I saw, let me see if I can get this on the shared screen, maybe not, but I saw that Congressman Espaillat is having an event, and I had pulled the flyers, but for some reason it's not letting me.
It's to know your rights.
Yes, it's yes, exactly. At this Saturday at 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. at the Star Senior Center, which is at St. Elizabeth Church. And the address is 650 West 187th Street, New York, New York, 10033. So that's this Saturday, February 7th from 12 to 2 p.m. And I'm trying to see if I can get this into the screen here, but maybe I'll stop sharing my screen for a second and then try again. Let me share now this window. All right. Anybody else have anything, any other items they want to raise while I try and figure this out? No? Okay. Let me start sharing. Okay, well, now you guys are seeing all of my screens, but that's okay, because I have nothing to hide. So this is the flyer in English. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. So again, February 7th, Saturday, from 12 to 2 p.m., 650 West 187th Street, and then also in Spanish. I pulled them from Representative Espaillat's Twitter account, but I will circulate the links in case folks want to share with the community. I'll also put them in the meeting minutes. But the main thing is that because this meeting is happening before anything else, right, is in 2 days, I just wanted to put it on our radars and hope that we can spread the word, because it seems like, you know, I don't know, I'm getting more and more questions, right, about what they can do. And I think that he's a trusted figure. I think that they have picked a safe space to have it. So I just wanted to put that on everybody's radars. And then that really is it, other than another reminder to please fill out your community board member surveys. They're due in April, but the sooner we can get them in, the better. Anything else? Does anybody have any other questions? Or Jay, do you have any updates from upstate? Anything you want to share with us? Okay.
I do have some old business. Not sure if now's a good time or if I should wait.
No, old business is great. Let me just show you guys. This is the flyer for the event that Linda has been telling us about. So just gonna make that a little bit bigger. I don't know if you guys can see, but the No More Crumbs event. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
All right, great. So that's it. I will leave it at that, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And Jay, feel free to pick back up where I cut you off.
Sorry, I just got home. So I want to flag a concern with the SFII event because from my understanding, legal organizations, and this happened to us where we had publicized an event, like a legal clinic, and someone on the social media had commented, I alerted ICE about your event. So we stopped putting location on the events because of the fear that ICE would, you know, they may not enter, but they might wait. Especially all the stuff been seeing around the state and sort of the nation, and how they don't really care about the laws. So we have recommended not putting a location if you're going to publicize sort of a know your rights. So just flagging that as a concern for folks to think about, like if you're trying to send family there, you know.
Appreciate that.
And if you want updates, so on the human services side, you know, we got the HR1 cuts, and part of it that there's a significant portion of the population that's going to lose SNAP benefits, or have been basically newly excluded. And one of the sort of budget pushes that I think Senator Hinchy on our side is carrying the budget letter to push both funding for the food pantries, right, because of increased food security issues, which is there's like Nourish New York and HIPNAP is the other one. But also along with that is funding or request for funding to plug in the hole that will be happening because of the loss of SNAP for those populations based on their immigration status. That's something that's happening at the state level that,
Can you
you
tell me who
know,
was that that's carrying that bill?
Senator, so it's a budget letter, not
Okay.
so it's a budget letter that has a couple of sort of more than one initiative, right? Like
Okay.
Nourish New York is one of those pots of funding. HIPNAP is another one. These are both programs that help support the food pantries all over the state.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And those food pantries know they advocate for increased funding. And then there's the SNAP issue that's also a part of the letter. On the healthcare side for Medicaid, we're going to be facing a lot of cuts. The governor's on an election year, so I think part of why her budget is very friendly this year, even though we know we're going to expect major hits starting next year, it's going to be a little devastating. And already the city has said they're at a 12 billion deficit. So it's like a preparation of like, get ready to get cut. There's only two choices here. It's either you cut more services or you raise revenue, right? And that means raising taxes.
Taxes.
And so there's a huge amount of people that are going to lose coverage, and depending on what the federal government does when the state requests, they're called waivers. So like revert back to the basic health plan. There's an essential plan and basic health plan. We were transitioning into a whole new level of funding, and then Trump administration cut that off, which would have provided social networks, like all these wraparound services on top of addressing a lot of the needs that people have on healthcare. That got taken out basically, and then so because of that, there's a population that makes above 200% of the federal poverty level, all the way up to 250% of the federal poverty level, and we had increased that amount to cover that population because they're not able to get Medicaid, and this is one way to give them health coverage. And it's a double hit because the essential plan provides better reimbursement rates for providers, which is another big example of like providers are also struggling, right? Like to keep their clinics open. The hospitals are always running negative on their dollars. And so because they're losing that population, that population is not covered anymore. It's a significant loss both for providers and the people who were getting that healthcare coverage. Because now you're asking them to go to the open market, which is completely unaffordable for anybody. So that's what's happening around the state on healthcare and food security.
Thank you.
On housing, Diana said it. There's the chair on this, both chairs on both sides of the Senate are championing one of the solutions of increasing funding for vouchers. Last year, I think, is when we won for the first time 50 million for this. It's a state funded program. It's basically like Section 8, but for the state. We did 50 million as a pilot because the governor didn't want to do anymore. And I think we're asking for 200 million this year to sort of provide these vouchers for folks so they're not, they're not kicked out of their homes and into shelters that are horrible and don't really do anything for anybody and cost us a shitload of money.
Mhm.
And so that's one of the things there in housing. The other thing is that, the governor this year is going after sort of the environmental review process, which is more technical in nature of like what developers require to go through to build, to like reduce timeline. I'm I haven't read the housing portion of everything yet. I'm still like Diana said this week, from on the Senate side, budget letters are priorities and budget letters are due Monday. So that's what I've been focusing on. And on the assembly, they're due on the 14th.
God.
So that's just like the process for members to submit what their priorities are for leadership. And then there's an internal process of sort of deciding what gets put in what they call the one house. The one house is basically the response that the Senate and the Assembly do separately to the governor's proposal. And then when those two bills come out, then the negotiations start.
Gotcha. And I just pulled from the governor's budget. I pulled a section on housing. Is the voucher programs, those are not in this list, or is it this 50 million for the housing access voucher program? Are you saying that it was 50 million last year and then the governor proposed funding it at 50 million this year, but you guys are asking
She's
for the-
keeping so she's keeping it flat. She's not doing anything on that. Because originally we wanted more from the beginning, but she only did 50 million.
Okay.
And then there's like we could talk about supportive housing. There's two separate programs that exist, and it's a little sad for supportive housing. And so, which is way better than having a shelter because shelters cost us a lot and they don't really do anything for people. Supportive housing actually takes in people with substance use issue or other domestic violence or, people who need more care management. But then there's like a social worker and some of them might have a clinic for these populations right in the same building. That's supportive housing. And that is the path to like the folks that you see homeless. That is the path that needs to be actually happening. And so there's I'm sorry because I deal with a lot of acronyms and sometimes I forget the full words for all of them.
No.
But there's something called NYSHIP and something called ESHI. ESHI gets funded more and it's a new program. But then the NYSHIP, which has a large portion of these nonprofit providers that provide supportive housing, they got an increase for the first time in like over a decade last year, and it was only $18 million around there, and which they appreciate, but they need more because a lot of that money goes to the operation of it. And so there's like this problem with the system, right? You're trying to hire social workers, clinicians, and you hire them, but you can't pay them enough to keep them. You can't retain them because the hospitals pay more and they also need that type of work for the population that they're serving. And so it's this circle of like the state chooses not to fund any of these programs appropriately to pay the staff. And it's the same problem with childcare. I mean, I would argue that whatever the mayor and governor are doing doesn't matter because they're not putting any money into actually giving the providers, the people who actually do the work, money to have a livable wage. So they're also struggling.
Got it.
So they're expanding, they're going to 2K and they're expanding 3K, but then there's income eligibility requirements. So it's not for every working family. It's, the working poor, which is good, but then it's not really going to be available if you don't have the folks to do the job. And if you could get paid the same working at McDonald's, what's the point? And so, yeah, I mean, I could go on and on for days. But that's a little gist of what's sort of happening right now around the state.
This is great. Thank you so much. We're lucky to have you on our committee. Does anybody else have any questions or anything they want to throw in or add? Is there, or Jay, like while others chime in, like, is there one thing that you think, like a resolution from our committee or something that we could do would make a difference? And do you think, for example, if it would be like more impactful if we did it with other community boards like CB9, which is right next to us? Any recommendations?
I think it's always good to have community boards sort of push on the issues, right? Doing resolutions to support certain bills. I will be excused on probably a bunch of them. But it's always good, right, to hold your electeds accountable. You can tell your electeds that they should be supporting these things at the city council level, but at the same time, you want your state electeds. So you got Al Taylor, Manny Dos Santos, Jackson for the area. And so those are the folks you want to sort of talk to and say like, okay, what are you pushing for? What is your list of legislation that we can get behind? Because everyone has their own bills, but then there's like general ones that everyone can agree. Like, the big argument of New York for All, which is the immigrant related one. It's like too little too late, right? Like now people want to start thinking about doing something, but this should have happened like a year ago. And now you see what's happening in Minnesota, which is crazy. So
Well,
there
I
are
will say-
definitely a large portion, and a lot of the organizations in our district know what these are. We just have to be able to get them here to a meeting to sort of walk you through what they're pushing,
Okay.
right?
So I will reach out then and get your recommendations on what organizations we can invite for March. In March, we also may have the, oh my God, HPD, sorry. They might be able to come and present to us in March, so we'll see.
Yeah, their excuse was that it's heat season, so now we can't, do a
Exactly.
presentation.
But I mean, they did send us a Housing 101 presentation. So I looked through it to see if maybe like I kind of knew enough or I could maybe walk us through it, but I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share it with you all. I'm going to follow up with them again and see if they can come on in March. And then I think I'm just going to ask her, can she please do like even a 5 to 7 minute like 101 section for us and use that slide deck. But if not, then I will see if I can find maybe a community group to come and present to us about it. But hopefully HPD will be here in March to present. And then I also was going to reach out to legal aid. And since like if I can get them to have it be kind of like a housing focused like on the presentation side, we can still talk about SNAP and other,
Indiana, I've seen Palante. They're always hosting different webinars. I think that's a good one.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I will reach out to them.
I could shoot me an email.
Okay,
I could connect you.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. All right. I only have one last question. I'm so sorry that I've talked this entire meeting. Like, please, somebody chime in. Do we still have Marshall on? If we
Yeah.
still have Marshall, I would love if you could just give us a sense of like your experience being an organizer at NYCHA and like how can we connect with them? What can we do to, either like what have you heard of like what issues they're kind of advocating for? What can we do to connect more with our residents who live in NYCHA buildings?
I'm not sure if I'm going to give you an adequate answer to this.
You can give us a starting point, and I'd be grateful for
But
that.
see, but I say it like this, motivation comes from within. And unfortunately, many of our residents, they're not so much motivated. Maybe it's parochial that they're not looking beyond their life
Well,
and the
folks have a
lives
lot on their plate too, I'm sure.
and the lives of others. I mean, I don't stand in their shoes. I know what's on my plate, and I know that I'm trying to make time for this as well as the other things. Other people, I mean, they
Yeah.
have family and children, and they're surviving. I mean, part of how I came to this committee was the fact that being involved with the resident association, we felt the need that somebody had to be here, maybe not saying everything, because sometimes I'm not saying much, but at least being a witness and bringing and having understanding of what's going on and how it relates to my residents. I'll assume the mantle from my first vice presidency. But I mean, in speaking about Dykeman, I feel like there's a new leaf in the sense that a lot of the scaffolding is down, the grounds are opening up. And to me, I'm just hoping that it's like an optimistic sign that
Mhm.
people are now ready to break out of their confines and reach out to others and be the thriving force that we can be within this community.
I love that.
And I don't know. I'm not sure what else I can really say to that. I mean, the resident association, those board members, they need to get out there. They need to be pushing the neighbors. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like my plane is on the descent now. So
No, I appreciate it. Thank you. I mean, I think the main thing that I want to do is like if we're going to make a big push, like I want to engage more people, but I want to make sure that we're also covering topics that, apply to them that I don't want them to like come and sit and feel like we're not doing anything, right? And so I want to hear from NYCHA residents, like what is it that they're advocating for and what ways can we be involved and really see who we can bring in, especially because, like right now the applications are open for a community board, right? So like maybe I don't know, maybe I will chat with you, follow up offline and see who I could send an email to just to like remind them, be like, hey, here's this application. It's relatively, straightforward. If they could just share it with their members, right? And just start conversations. Like I feel again, I'm gonna end with this. I started with this, which is I feel like we're trying to like lay the groundwork and connections. And maybe that, we can start preparing now for like some of our budget asks and bigger things for next year if it's too late for this year. But that includes trying to diversify who's on the board, right? And
right.
if we can get more NYCHA residents to be a part of our committee, and then we can have more firsthand insight on what the needs are, where there could be like advocacy that we can engage in. All right, folks. Anything else? Is there anything else anyone wants to chat? I see a Q&A.
One
ahead.
thing. Yeah, this is a bit of old business. Last meeting, I think we had discussed the district needs statement. So I was wondering if there's been any movement on that or any guidance from the executive committee on how to approach that.
Thank you. Yes. So we are going to try, we can try and send an update. Sorry, one second. Let me just cut this. We can try and set an update for the I think it's HPD who's like managing everything. We're not guaranteed that it's going to be included, but certainly then we'll have it for next year. So I talked to Anthony and he said, and I can share the draft report with you guys. Like we can send him any updates, we'll propose them. If not, we'll just keep an eye towards like looking through the full report and updating the full report for the next cycle.
Got it. Thanks.
Thank you. Anything else? All right, folks, is there a motion to dismiss?
Motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you very much. All right. I really appreciate it. Everybody stay warm. Have a good night. Thank you for
Good
hearing me.
night.
Night,
Thank you.
folks.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good night.